If you've ever wanted to eat a raw vegan diet, this video series is for you. I'm gonna release 20 videos over the next 20 days. If you want to see all the videos at once, you can click the link in the description and you'll be brought to a playlist. Also, if you would like to take a 30-day raw food challenge, I've put together a 30-day raw food challenge, which you can find out more information about in the description as well. The reason I'm making this video is because I was a 100% raw vegan for 10 years, over a decade actually. And how I got into it is I was 18 years old going to college, and I was eating absolute crap. I was eating McDonald's like every single day. I was smoking, I was drinking, I was doing drugs. I was just your regular run-of-the-mill kid from Canada, like just completely average run-of-the-mill kid, eating whatever everyone else was eating. In fact, I was like against vegetarianism. I was against veganism. I thought that stuff was weird. And I just wanted to be, a cool kid who smoked and drank and just fit in. And then when I went to college, I started to like experience real stress for the first time in my life. I started to experience what it felt like to hate my life. I was driving to school in the school bus and just like hating it. And I was like, I really don't want to go to class. I really don't want to go to class. This sucks. And when I got to class, I was hating the homework assignments and I was flunking. I was failing. It was not a fun time for me. And then when I come home from school, I would just watch like really dumb videos on YouTube. And then I came across this one documentary called Faces of Death, and it was about like how different things died and got killed. And for some reason I was like drawn, I was attracted to like that dark horror at the time of my life. And so I was watching these films, and in Faces of Death, they happened to show this one clip. It was like maybe like a 1-minute clip of what happens inside of a slaughterhouse. And when I saw that footage of what happens inside of a slaughterhouse, it made me so angry. I got so upset. I was like, that's not right. That's not how you treat animals. That's like so wrong. I don't want anything to do with that. I want to stop eating red meat right now. And I don't know why I felt that way. I just did. Like growing up, I had a dog. I've always loved animals, but I always thought it was fine to eat them as well. It's a really weird disconnect I had. But when I saw the footage of how pigs and chickens and cows were being treated in these slaughterhouses, I knew that like that was not right, and I didn't want to support that anymore. So I immediately closed down the documentary, didn't even finish watching it, went on Google and typed in vegetarian celebrities. I just saw all these big names coming up in the search results. It was like Brad Pitt, Leonardo DiCaprio, and Pamela Anderson, and all these big movie stars from Hollywood. And I remember thinking, wow, if it's good enough for them, if a vegetarian diet's good enough for them, these guys are like successful, famous millionaires, it's probably good enough for me. Like, what the hell do I know? I'm just some kid who's failing college. Like, if it's good enough for them and they're successful, like this could actually give me like a leg up maybe I could be a bit more successful. I don't know, it's just some like subconscious feeling I had. So I made a vow right down there to stop eating red meat. I have never eaten a piece of chicken or beef ever since that day. I was 18 and a half years old, wanting to drop out of college, watching this horror documentary. So thank God for all the famous celebrity vegetarian vegans out there. From there, I needed to drop out of college. I needed to stop doing that, and I needed to go actually like pursue what I want to do with my life. Because for the first time in my life, becoming vegetarian, that was like my choice. I chose to do it. Nobody told me to go vegetarian. People told me to go to college. People told me to join sports. People told me to smoke. People told me to drink. People told me to watch this movie or do this or that or whatever. Becoming vegetarian was 100% my choice. The documentary wasn't even about vegetarianism. The documentary didn't even say, oh, you should stop eating meat. It was like an hour-long documentary talking about how different things died and got killed. And when it got to that part in the film, it showed that footage. It then moved on, started talking about something else completely. But I paused it, I stopped it. I was like, I need to make the decision right now for myself. I'm doing this. And even the celebrities on Google didn't even tell me to go vegan. They just were inspiring me to go vegan just by being vegetarian and vegan themselves, being successful themselves. So again, it was the first decision I've made for myself. And I remember feeling a shift in identity, like a put on like a new mask. I was like, I'm no longer average Joe Ted. I'm vegetarian Ted. It was the first time I've ever like stepped into a new identity intentionally and deliberately. And from there, I needed like a new lifestyle. I couldn't continue going to college and doing what I was doing now that I'm vegetarian. And so I found a way to live my life differently. I dropped out of college, became a certified personal trainer, and started helping people with their health and with their fitness. And I felt so good as a vegetarian. I thought like, well, what else can I do to improve my diet and lifestyle? Considering I don't know anything about this, I should probably do some research. And I found out that like most people who go vegetarian find great benefit, and they find so much benefit that they want more, and so they end up becoming a vegan. And when they go vegan, that's when they really get to experience the benefits. And so it's like, oh my God, well, the vegetarian's been this good to me. Imagine what a vegan diet can do for me. So then I went vegan. And when I went vegan, I started reading about how to be like the healthiest vegan possible. And I came across this triathlete at the time named Brenda Brazier. and he wrote this book called Thrive. And in Thrive, he talked about how like the best vegan diets, 80% of the calories come from raw food. And I was like, whoa, if 80% of the calories come from raw food, then I got to start eating way more raw. And so I started eating way more raw, and I felt so much better. And then I kept thinking about it, and I'm like, well, if I feel this good at 80% raw, and the healthiest vegan diets are 80% raw, like what would happen if I did 100% raw? And I started going to the library and taking up books about raw foods, and like this was like way back, like 11 years ago. There wasn't like too much stuff on it back then, but like there wasn't tons of YouTube channels talking about it, that's for sure. But I want to go to the library and start getting inspired by all this talk about raw food, and I go on YouTube and start doing some searching, and I find like 2 or 3 different channels talking about raw food. And one of them was a guy named Durian Rider, and he was talking about how a raw food diet can be really simple. You just need to eat lots of fruits. And I thought, hey, like that sounds cool. I'll give it a shot. So I go to the grocery store and I buy a bunch of fruits. I come home and I don't know what the hell I'm doing. I've just never bought so many fruits in my life. And I have this like girlfriend over at my house at the time, and she thinks I'm super weird. And I'm just eating pears and like unripe nectarines and like crunchy plums and weird fruits I've never even had before, like big pomelos and things like this. And then like a couple of days later, I guess at this point I've subscribed to a bunch of different newsletters online, and I get an email talking about like, oh, I should vote for the best of raw or whatever. It's like some like contest going on, like the best. I need to vote for like the best website that has to do with raw veganism. And so I click on this email and I'm like, oh, like who should I vote for? I'm like, I don't even know anything about raw food, but I'll at least check out like the different resources that they're mentioning. And at the top of the list, because it was an alphabetical list of all these websites that you're supposed to vote for, the top of the list, because it was alphabetical, it was this website called 30 Bananas a Day. So I check out 30 Bananas a Day, and I go there and I'm like, oh my God, this is like, at the time it was like the Facebook for raw vegans and fruitarians. And it was like, wow, like I found like this online paradise portal. This was like way before Facebook was really popular, and Instagram and YouTube and all that. So I found like a community of these vegans and raw vegans, specifically raw vegans. In fact, you weren't even allowed to talk about cooked food on that forum. If you talked about cooked food in 30 Bananas a Day, you get kicked off. Like it was just all raw. It was like very, very militant, which is cool at the time because like I wanted to learn more about how to master the raw diet. And then there again, I see this Durian Rider guy pop up. It turns out he like owns the website with his girlfriend Freely. And so I just start devouring all the content, I'm reading all the different forum posts, and I'm learning from all these legends. I find like Ann Osborne and Dr. Robert Lockhart and Michael Arnstein and all these other big names in the raw vegan fruitarian game. And I just start like just devouring all their content. I'm watching all the YouTube videos, reading the blog posts, looking at all their forum responses, how they've answered different people. Like I want to know everything they know. And I just became a sponge. I just learned everything, extracted everything from this forum. In fact, the forum is still up. It's probably still got some good content on there. I created my own blog on there. I started posting a lot. And it wasn't long before I became fairly well known on that site because I was really athletic at the time. Still am, but I was really athletic and young. I was like 20 years old or something when I got on there. And I just became a part of this community. And I was learning so much, and everything made so much sense. I got a copy of the 80-10-10 diet by Dr. Doug Graham. I got that book. I read that, underlined it, highlighted it word for word. I like became that book, right? I was like a walking, talking 80-10-10 vegan. And from there I went to the Woodstock Fruit Festival and met all these legends in real life. Made a bunch of friends with everyone, and like it's just ever since then my life's never been the same. In fact, like most of my friends to this day, I'd say like over 75% of my friends in real life are friends I met at the Woodstock Fruit Festival or another fruit festival that spawned off because of the Woodstock Fruit Festival. So that's how I got into it. And I guess like I forgot to mention, you mentioned the reason why I got into raw foods. The big reason why I wanted to make the switch from vegan to raw foods was because I had so much acne. I forgot to mention this, totally forgot to mention this. I had so much acne. My face, my back, my chest were covered in acne. And although a vegan diet did help, it didn't get rid of the acne at all. And so if I wanted to get rid of the acne, I needed to switch something up in my diet. Because I tried everything else, everything topical, and everything topical, nothing worked. But as soon as I switched my diet, as soon as I cut out all this cooked food, and I cut out the gluten, I cut out like all these nuts and seeds, that's when my acne totally cleared up. And that's when I started to feel really, really good. And I realized that by getting rid of all these fats in my diet, by sticking to a low-fat diet, that's how I was able to release the toxins, because toxins, as it turns out, get stored in fat cells. And you get rid of the fat cells, you get rid of the toxins. So that's how I got started. And initially, you know, even though I felt really good, my parents were really worried, my neighbors were worried, like my friends were worried. They thought I had a freaking eating disorder because I lost so much weight so quickly and I was just eating fruit. It was very weird. My dad got really upset. And yeah, no one was really stoked at the time. But then I started winning races in triathlon, started doing really well in my athletic performances. And that's when everyone kind of shut up and just took note of what I was doing, how well it was working. So that's my journey to Raw. And I hope this video was helpful. I look forward to helping you guys a lot more in the future videos. So that's it for now. Peace out. See you next video. Again, check links in the description and see you next video. Peace, peace.